Good evening. This is a meditation evening, and I've just completed reading a few paragraphs from the Emperors Handbook, and this is from book 2. I wanted to share two paragraphs, paragraph 9 and 10, and not 11 down here. So meditating is very important. It helps get my mind right. I carry this just about everywhere I go, not to memorize it, but just to open it up and to refresh the information of what it is saying. I believe it's such a great book of wisdom. So let's go ahead and start, and then I will read each paragraph and then discuss what it means to me. Number 9, be mindful at all times of the following: the nature of the whole universe, the nature of the part that is me, the relation of the one to the one so vast, the other so small. No one can even prevent me from saying and doing what is in complete conformity with the whole, of which I am so small yet integral a part. Now this here says so many things to me, and we'll start from the top. We are one with nature, we come from nature, and when we die, dust to dust, we return to nature. All of the quadrillions of molecules and atoms that form our bodies, with the elements and minerals and everything that makes us who we are physically, came from Earth. We are carbon-based life forms. And that is just so important to keep in mind, that we are not aliens to this planet. So whether you believe that we are here by a creation or a creator or by nature, really they're synonymous to one another, because if you're here by either, the creator created us out of the dust of the earth, or nature created us through evolution, right? Still coming from the earth. Now the second half of this speaks volumes. And what it says to me when it speaks about no one can prevent me from saying and doing what is in complete conformity means that if I decide and choose as a free being to live one with nature, that to me represents a more holistic approach to living life. And I want to use the news, the media, everything we hear and read. These are constant bombardments that we are hit with, and all of them are trying to tell you how to live your life, whether it be via protest or do not eat meat, or do not, you must be carbon neutral, you must not have a gasoline engine, all that type stuff. These are the efforts of government to control nature, which I'm totally against. I believe that we are here to live with nature. Now, when it comes to CO2 is a natural part of this planet. It's oil, and the fact that you have a higher ppm in the atmosphere is truly insignificant to life on Earth. We will adjust, we will adapt, and it does not have a huge warming effect that they claim that it is. We are carbon-based life forms. Green flora absorbs and sucks up all this carbon. So having additional CO2 in the atmosphere is actually very good and has greened our planet significantly. So I believe that if we were to live more in tune with nature, that we would be better off. And that's how I try to strive to live my life, realizing that everyone has their own choice. Now, as an addition to that, everything that mankind does is a cheap imitation of nature. You can take a nuclear weapon. The sun is quadrillions of times more powerful than a nuclear bomb. The drone swarms that we're supposed to fear, right? Because they can amass and kill and take out a target. Well, that's a cheap knockoff from a hornet's nest, where if you go poke a hornet's nest, they're all going to come out and they're going to swarm you, right, in one big drone-style attack. So you can take any technology. You can take AI. AI is nothing but the mind of Einstein. It will never be smarter than man. It might be able to process information faster, but it will never be smarter than its creator. And you can go on and on and on and on. Every invention that man has come up with, especially in the scientific realm, is nothing but a cheap imitation of nature. So, number 10, let's move on. When making a not uncommon comparison between faults of character, the philosopher Theophrastus claims that sins of desire are worse than sins of anger. Whereas the angry man seems to reject reason painfully and with a certain unconscious contraction of the spirit, he who sins out of desire, desperate for pleasure, appears more self-seeking and womanish. He was right and worthy of his philosophy to censure sins undertaken for pleasure more heavily than those accompanied by pain. And he wraps it up here by saying, in general, the one is more like a victim, fired to anger, first by the pain of an injustice, and then by the pain of his response, while the other deliberately desires what he knows to be wrong in the hope of deriving pleasure from it. And I believe that biblical teachings teach us as well that the greatest sin of all, or sins of all, are the ones that are self-seeking, self-serving, self-pleasure, because what you're doing, you're training your heart or your soul to love sin. And that is why this philosopher rated that as the worst sin. Because once you love sin and you repeat it and repeat it for pleasure's sake, it becomes an addictive, and you cannot break away from it without serious intervention. So, he compares it with the anger. Anger is a emotion, and that while a sin, anger is in response to a great injustice that has occurred, and that is far less of a sin than those of lust, I suppose. So these are the 2 paragraphs that I meditated on this evening. I wanted to share with you my interpretation and how spot on I believe they are. Again, written at about 150 AD by Marcus Aurelius. This is the Cold War Sailor. I hope you enjoyed it. Out.